Hello everyone, and welcome to Autocrat. This is episode 22, Heracles, an introduction.
Ooh.
You might know Heracles better as Hercules.
Yep, I do know that's the Latin version of his name. He does get more recognition that way.
Yep, he is very famous for the 12th task of Hercules. But do you know where he actually comes from?
Well, I'm hoping that's what we're going to get into in this episode, right?
Yep, this episode will be an introduction on him.
Nice.
We'll dive more into the story of the task and why he got them in future episodes. So this will be like a mini-series where we'll post episodes about his task and everything every once in a while. And in between, post episodes about interesting other mythological heroes or any other subject you would like to see, do let us know.
Okay. And I get the impression that before we start alternating, we'll first have this episode introducing Heracles, or Hercules, whichever spelling you want, and then next episode will be introducing the tasks.
Probably. Heracles is the son of Zeus.
Okay, another one. That doesn't surprise me in any way.
And he's also the son of Alcmene, who is related to Perseus.
Yes, I think she's his granddaughter and simultaneously his great-granddaughter because we have an uncle-niece marriage somewhere in the family tree.
Of course.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the story surrounding the birth of Heracles and how he came to existence.
Okay.
Alright? Alcmene is married to Amphitryon.
Yep, who is also her uncle, I think.
You.
Yeah, well, if it's good enough for the Habsburgs and the Ptolemies, it's good enough for the Perseids.
Yeah. Amphitryon is away fighting his cousins, and Alcmene is left behind alone.
Yes, and basically I think for our purposes we're not going to talk about why Amphitryon is away fighting. He's fighting the Taphians, who we talked about at the end of episode 17, but I've largely skimmed over the details of this in our research because we don't need to know it for the purpose of Heracles. Maybe we'll come back to it in a bonus at some point, but just know he's not here.
While he's on his way to Thebes,
Yeah.
Amphitryon that is, Zeus comes to visit Alcmene.
Okay, so an opportunist, definitely. Pop in to see Alcmene while the husband's away in a city we've covered during Oedipus's episode.
Yeah. So Zeus comes to visit her, and he stretches the night so it feels as if it was the length of 3 nights.
Okay, that's standard in the playbook.
It's not.
No, and also I'm dubious about this given that Zeus is also her great-grandfather.
Yeah. The reason she's fine with Zeus just coming over for a night or 3 nights, however you want to see it, is because Zeus shapeshifts to look like her husband.
Okay, I mean, this sounds very similar to the story of Arthur and Merlin, in that Arthur's dad wants to sleep with Igraine, the wife of Gorlois, Duke of Cornwall, and Merlin just makes him look like Gorlois, so they get into the castle and Arthur is conceived after a night of passion.
Yeah.
So it sounds very similar. It does sound like something Zeus would do, though.
It does sound very much like it.
Yeah.
I mean, Alcmene was just probably feeling overjoyed to see her husband and welcomed him with open arms because maybe he came home earlier than he was expected and, she was just like, husband, you're there, come in.
Yeah, and she didn't know that she was instead going to feature on the podcast as mother of son of Zeus number 7, or however many we've had at this point.
Exactly.
Okay. So, the next day, Amphitryon actually shows up, back from Thebes. I don't know how long he was away for, but it's quite coincidental he shows up the very next day.
It is.
And Alcmene doesn't give him the reception he might have been expecting. So he questions this reaction, because from his perspective, he came home from a very long trip. Why isn't his wife happy to see him? And she says, well, it's not news to me that you're back. You came back yesterday and we spent the night together. I mean, she's probably wondering if Amphitryon hasn't suffered some sort of brain injury, and hey, we do know soldiers from World War I came home with amnesia after a traumatic event, so maybe she just thinks that Amphitryon has this.
Amphitryon is a bit still skeptic about all that, so
would be.
He goes and asks the seer Tiresias.
Okay, who we met last episode in the context of his hassling Oedipus and not being believed.
Exactly. About what is going on with his wife, who he thinks may have some stuff going on and memory trouble at this point.
Yeah, or maybe she's just drunk too much and is seeing double.
Exactly. The seer tells him that actually Zeus slept with his wife while he was away, But it doesn't seem like the seer revealed that Zeus disguised himself.
Yeah, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. We're largely relying on Apollodorus for our version of events, and Tiresias in that version just says that Zeus came to Alcmene. No further details.
So yeah, I like to imagine the seer going like, yeah, Zeus slept with your wife, and yeah. So, probably she's like, oh, now it's the husband back.
Yeah, and then Tiresias asks him, why are you crying?
We can then presume that the husband and wife had a talk, and Alcmene said that the person she was with did look exactly like Amphitryon. And knowing how powerful Zeus is, he accepts that and feels for her for having been duped.
Yeah, they had one of those conversations that carried on until 2 a.m. with everyone talking in circles.
Yeah.
Now, I get the impression that you think this, even though it's not in the text, because of what happens immediately afterwards.
Exactly. Later on, Alcmene gives birth to 2 boys who have enough distinction to realize they're from different fathers.
Yeah.
We can presume that one is Amphitryon and the other is Zeus.
Yeah. Doesn't the text actually say that Alcmene gives birth to 2 boys, not even mentioning the presumably, but just saying they're by different fathers, just completely glossing it over?
Yeah. That's why we're saying that they might have enough distinction, like they probably don't look exactly like perfect twins.
One of them has huge muscles and the other one is just this tiny little shrimp. I mean, there is something called superfetation, where more than one egg is released and fertilized at different times, and then we have something else called superfecundation, which is where twins are born to different fathers.
Yeah.
You do see it in cats, and actually, our vet said something recently that made me think that Gus and Felix might have different fathers.
They definitely do.
Yeah, but there is an example that I can think of in humans where twins born in 1965 did a DNA test and found out they shared as much similarity as half siblings and did not share a father.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, the mother had admitted to cheating on the father with someone of Native American extraction, and the brother did look more Native American, apparently, than the sister did. So, superfecundation, it happens in Greek mythology.
It does. One of the boys is named Iphicles.
Iphicles, yeah.
And the other, Heracles.
Yeah.
But when he was born, he was actually born as Alcides.
Okay.
But we'll keep on calling him Heracles because someone gave him that name later on, and it's more easier to just name him Heracles.
Yeah. I believe someone's playing with a wire under there.
Felix.
Brief interruption from the Autocrat, sabotaging our wire. Felix, come on. Behave.
Felix. Come on.
Felix, we're trying to record about Heracles. Please behave. Please leave the door. Okay, he's gone now, running down the stairs like a little madman.
Or Eurus was, actually.
Oh, well, Felix is off to sack Rome, presumably. Anyway, where were we?
Iphicles is said to be younger than Heracles by just a night.
Okay, so thereby definitely implying the lovebirds made up their differences and set them aside, shall we say.
Yeah. Diodorus also says that Athena brings the child to Hera and she breastfeeds him, but he pulls a bit too hard and painfully, so she throws him away.
Okay, so Heracles, just after he's born, is breastfed by Hera, but he pushes his luck a bit too far, so to say.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next major story we've got is fast forwarding a few months to when the twins are now about 8 months old. So you're more of the expert on development here. What would they be able to do as standard 8-month-olds at this time?
Well, every baby is different, obviously.
Yeah.
But at that age, from what I know, they start to try a bit more solid food. They start to crawl around and to babble a bit more.
Yeah, and we will really discover that every baby is different because that's actually the point of this story in a way. So Hera, who is Zeus's current wife and also his sister, by the way.
Yeah, what's up with this family?
I don't know. I mean, there's presumably a limited divine gene pool at this point. But the point is, she wants Heracles dead for reasons that are unspecified by Apollodorus, but you can easily think this is Zeus's illegitimate son. It's reasonable to assume she doesn't like him. And she sends 2 massive snakes to his crib. So, for a comparison, the biggest snake to ever live was Titanoboa, which was 13 meters long and weighed over 1,100 kilograms. I mean, it lived about 60 million years ago, but maybe Hera sent 2 of these. The point is, they're big snakes.
Yeah. Alcmene finds out about the snakes and shouts for her husband.
Yeah. I mean, if I found 2 huge snakes near my baby, I would be inclined to run for help as well. I don't think that's an unreasonable response.
Yeah. But Heracles actually wakes up and strangles them with his bare hands.
Okay.
And they die.
Right. Yeah, I like to imagine a little baby, teddy in one hand, in the other fist, both snakes with their tongues out, the classic dying pose. But yeah, as we've said, babies are different. Some babies start eating solid foods at 8 months. Some will start strangling giant snakes. It's all different.
They are. There is another version of the snake story
Yeah.
which has the husband, so Amphitryon,
Yep.
putting the snakes in to know which one is his son and which one is Zeus's,
Yep.
because he believes that the one that is his will be the more cowardly one.
Okay, that is a brilliant burn on Amphitryon from whoever wrote that. I mean, we do know that twins in the past were taken as evidence of cheating because people knew about superfecundation and so just assumed that with twins it would be the case. So maybe Amphitryon was doing a test here or had reason to suspect. But even so, that's not great on his kid to hear, oh yeah, I figured you'd be the pathetic one who wouldn't kill the snakes.
We're going to fast forward again a bit. The brothers are growing up, learning all the things of life to be strong men, like riding, fighting, and many other stuff.
Yep. And they're also educated by the centaur Chiron, I believe, or at least Heracles is. And we met Chiron in our constellations discussion, right?
We did. And Linus, who is the brother of Orpheus.
Okay, so another famous figure from a myth who we might have reason to talk about. I'm not sure yet.
Maybe. Is teaching Heracles music.
Yeah, from a lyre.
To teach him, because as all good teachers do, Linus thinks it's a good idea to hit him with the instrument, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Which, is a famous last act from him.
Yeah.
Because guess what?
Right.
Heracles kills him with the instrument for his trouble.
I can see how a very hormonal, temperamental son of Zeus might overreact in this scenario.
Yeah. We've been talking about Heracles for a little bit.
Yeah.
But do you know what he actually looks like? Can you describe him
We
for us?
We do have some details from Apollodorus, yes. We know he's about 4 cubits high, or just over, which is about 1 meter 84 centimeters. And apparently he's got fire in his eyes, and when you look at him, it's obvious that he's the son of Zeus. And I believe you said you like to imagine he's got a small lion bolt birthmark somewhere.
Yeah.
Or just tattooed, I am the son of Zeus.
That would be funny.
Yeah. He is rumoured to have killed a lion at the tender age of 18. Diodorus, as a last little detail, also says that he's from Egypt, if I remember correctly, but that makes sense, seeing as the very definition of Diodorus Siculus is an Egypt fanboy.
Let me tell you a fun story.
Yeah, it's connected to the lion, I think.
It is.
Yeah.
One of the people who was being harassed by the lions wants Heracles to sleep with all his daughters so they would have children by him.
Okay.
So during 50 days, Heracles is being kept in the palace where he obliged, thinking it was just the same girl.
Okay, so he sleeps with all 50 of this man's daughters in 50 nights. That's, I think, I don't have a source for this, but I think some people jokingly refer to this as the 13th task of Heracles.
Fast forward again a bit, Heracles is now an adult, and he wants a wife, as all, adult men do, I
mean,
guess.
Jane Austen did say that would happen.
She did. Therefore, he marries Megara, who is the oldest daughter of Creon. Remember him?
Ah, yes, from Oedipus's episode. Isn't he Jocasta's brother?
He is.
Yeah. And again, I believe there's some details surrounding how exactly he ends up with Megara, but we're not going to go into it. We're just introducing Heracles here.
We are. Creon also, just as a side note, marries one of his daughters to the other weaker boy.
Okay, I really get the impression that Iphicles is just very badly put upon by everyone.
Yeah.
Justice for Iphicles.
Heracles and Megara end up welcoming 3 children to the world.
Okay.
Cerymachus, Creontiades,
right,
and Deicon.
These are not good names. I mean, Deicon, is he a raccoon? I don't... I mean, baby books just didn't exist in the ancient Greek world, did they? I mean, Creontiades, your child is going to get bullied. Well, actually, his dad is Heracles, so maybe not.
This marriage and the birth of his children currently brings us to the end of this introduction about who exactly Heracles is and why we are going to do some episode about him, because obviously he's famous for the 12th task, which we haven't said yet why they will come up.
Yep.
This will be for next episode. Why did Heracles get the tasks?
Yeah, okay, brilliant. Well, like you said, that brings us to the end of the episode, so thank you very much for listening, everyone, and feel free to check us out on our social media, Instagram and TikTok. We have those now, apparently.
And
feel free to give us a rating as well if you're enjoying the show.
Yeah, have a great week, everyone.
Have a great week.
How did you like it? Did I do it good?
Yeah, it was a fun episode. I did not expect, when I was researching initially, that Diodorus would just say, and obviously Heracles is from Egypt.
I love Egypt. Please make it from Egypt.
Yeah, he is the biggest Egypt fanboy I've ever seen. Get Diodorus a
So he's-
cruise.